All right, good evening. We will call this meeting to order for the June 11th, 2026 Apple Valley City Council meeting. First item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone please rise who is able and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on our agenda is to approve our agenda. I'll just note that as we get into that, for any audience members who have signed up to speak, as your name is called, please come forward to approach the podium to address the council. Tom, do we have any changes to the agenda this evening?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. We do have one item just to acknowledge that you have a submitted comment related to item 5D on your agenda. This is the 7 Brew coffee item. I just want to acknowledge that as part of the public record.
And that's the one I have with me?
Correct.
Okay, so we'll just read that. The person who wished to have the comment submitted was unable to be here due to an emergency, so we'll just read that as we get to that item. With that, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Grendall, second by Councilmember Melander. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved. The next item on our agenda is the audience participation portion of the meeting. This is for items that are not on the agenda. I did not grab the sign-up sheet. Christina, do we have anyone?
Mayor, I did not see anyone on the sign-up sheet.
Perfect. Is there anyone, we'll just make sure we didn't catch anybody who came in late. Is there anyone who would like to speak for the audience participation portion of the meeting? Again, this is for items not on the agenda. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to consent. These items are routine and will be enacted with a single motion unless a council member or a citizen requests to pull an item. We'll start with council members. Are there any items you would like to pull from consent to discuss separately? All right, seeing none. Residents in the audience, are there any items you would like to pull this evening? All right, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Bergman, second from Councilmember Hebert. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? The consent items all carry unanimously, and that brings us to our regular agenda. We will start with item 5A, and that's that will be to accept Apple Valley Freedom Days celebration and community festival schedule of events and authorize the placement of signage. And Nate, do you want to start this item off, or should we just have our Fearless Freedom Days volunteer committee come kick us off? All right, come on up, guys. And I say that jokingly, but not really, because you have to be kind of fearless to pull this event off for 60 years. Whenever you're ready. Do you mind just introducing yourselves for those who don't know you before you jump in?
Sure. My name is Michelle Taves, and I've been with the committee, I don't know, I've tried to figure it out, I think 20 years.
I'm Pat Gansmo.
Also,
Many years. Hasn't been 60 yet.
Well, we'll let you jump into your presentation before we get to the business stuff of approving all the things.
Okay. So I just want to start off with a thank you to all of our supporters and sponsors over the years, the City of Apple Valley, American Legion, and many, many of the Apple Valley businesses, even surrounding community businesses. This will be our 60th year for Freedom Days, so pretty big milestone to hit. And our committee has collectively over 100 years of experience volunteering and putting this event together. So, yeah, we're feeling old.
Yeah, I think you guys have half of it, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, you can go ahead and put those up. So Pat Sesha was not able to be here tonight. Normally she does this. If you don't know, her husband had a stroke about a month ago. And he's been in the hospital and then into rehab, and he actually was able to go home today.
That's good news.
Yep, good news. So up there on the screen, or your screens, you can see some of the pictures from past events where we have our fishing and the parade and the car show and fireworks. So they're pictures from a lot of different years. And so I think we put many, many pictures together. But so the next thing is just the schedule of events. So the car show will kick off the whole event, which will be on Friday, June 26th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the American Legion, and then obviously the streets surrounding it for the cars to park on, and Pat's going to talk about that.
Yep, it's, yeah, I just want to thank the Legion for sponsoring the show. Because it's about the best place that we could find to have a car show around the surrounding streets. And most car people, they love parking on the street, angle parking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the show is all going together. We never know how many cars we're going to get until that day, because a lot of them don't pre-register. So I think there's 10 of them that did this year so far. So I think we had 180 cars last year, and I think it's been up around 200, during the past years. But we're all set to go. Next year the Legion is celebrating their 50th year.
Yeah.
So we beat them by 10. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So then the next thing on our event will be Casting with the Cops, which will be on Wednesday, July 1st, from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. That's been a pretty successful event with the kids and all. And then on Friday, July 3rd, from 5 to 7, we will have the Kitty Parade, which is coming back after not being there for about 20 years. So super excited about that. It starts at Scott Highlands and then will make its way over to Johnny Cake Park there. You do need to pre-register, and you can go onto the City of Apple Valley's website, or even on Freedom Day's website. They have a link as well. So a huge thank you to the Rotary Club and Cub Foods for bringing that back. It's gonna be fun. It'll be fun for the kids. The next event is the Carnival, and that, it says up there July 3rd and July 4th, but Pat, when I talked to her last night, said it will be July 2nd, July 3rd, and July 4th for the Carnival. And times are yet to be determined. I don't think she had the times for me.
Yeah.
And then on Friday night, July 3rd, will be our family fun night with the Kitty Parade coming over there. But then we also have the petting zoo, we have pony rides, knocker ball will be back this year, food vendors, a vendor fair. I think that's just about all of the main highlights for that night. And then the fun run will be on Saturday morning, July 4th, hosted by the Parks and Rec Department. And then at 1 o'clock will be the parade starting. About 11 o'clock is usually when everybody starts showing up, so that's around that parking lot that used to be Health Partners. That will be busy and bustling with all kinds of people. We got quite a few participants, but we're still taking applications. Pat said just give her a call if anybody still wants to get into the parade. And then that evening will be the pre-fireworks party, starting at 6 o'clock until 9:30. There is a DJ that's going to be up at the top there in the gazebo, hosting the dance party, and then along with all the food vendors will be up there. They also know that they need to shut down at 9:30, and they will be reminded. We also made some signs for them last year so that they could put it up so that everybody else is aware that the food vendors will be shutting down at that time in preparation for the fireworks show, which then will be at 9:30, with the rain date being on Sunday, July 5th at 9:30 p.m. So lastly, and most importantly, we want to say thank you to the City Council and the administration for all of your support over this year and the previous years. A huge thank you to the city staff, streets, police, fire for all their support and help during these events. It takes a lot of people to put this event together and to make it successful. And obviously, our goal is to make it fun for the community, for everybody to be involved. And then, again, a very heartfelt heartfelt thank you to the American Legion, City of Apple Valley, and all of our sponsors, businesses that, for supporting this event, because without any of that, this wouldn't be going on. So I think we can be pretty proud of the fact that we have a legacy of 60 years for Freedom Days. So, thank you.
Thank you. It wouldn't happen without the sponsors, but it certainly wouldn't happen without the volunteer committee either, pulling all your work together. So thank you all for the time. Pat, you said earlier it's the hardest unpaid part-time job you've probably ever had, and that seemed about accurate when you said it. So thank you all. Councilmember Bergman.
Thank you. Give Pat our sincere good luck to her husband. The question I have for you is, in the past, we have been given a piece of paper, a beautiful card that she has produced that is basically our identification to get in. How are we going to do that? Does staff know how they're...
John, I've never brought that with to get in, and I've never had
I've
a
always shown you,
CSO to find me entry, so I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, Pat.
No, it's a beautiful, what she does.
Yeah,
Those
and
cards are
Pat did
gorgeous.
mention it, but because of her husband.
We'll give her a
being in the
pass
hospital,
this
We'll give
year.
her a
Yeah.
pass. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that
Yeah.
show up and
So
who are you?
Nick, no, Councilmember Bergman does not get in this.
No, I don't put that stuff up until I get inside that ring.
Yeah.
Councilmember Grendel.
I think you've only made one mistake. Tom Goodwin is the Grand Marshal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is,
Put it back to work.
that was a good pick.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all. Let's go ahead and, unless somebody had something else, no, let's go ahead and look for a motion to accept Apple Valley Freedom Days celebration and community festival schedule of events and authorize the placement of the signage.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Grendel, second from Councilmember Bergman. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Those carry. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you again, and we'll
you.
see you in a few weeks.
Yep. We're good.
Wonderful. That brings us on to 5B, which is Skyline Social and Games on-sale liquor license. Christina.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Lots of exciting things going on in Apple Valley these days. This is an on-sale liquor license application from SS&G Apple Valley, Inc. for the new Skyline Social and Games that will be opening up later this summer. We have duly noticed this public hearing in our local newspaper. The city staff and the police department have reviewed the application and found no concerns. We request tonight that you hold the public hearing and consider the resolution approving the liquor license. And I'm
Wonderful.
available for questions.
Thank you. Before I open the public hearing, are there questions for Christina? All right, seeing none, we will go ahead and open the public hearing for the Skyline Social and Games on-sale liquor license. Anyone who would like to speak to this public hearing? Anyone who would like to address the hearing? One final opportunity. We'll close the public hearing and we will look for a motion to adopt the resolution approving the issuance of the on-sale intoxicating liquor and special license for Sunday liquor sales for SS&G Apple Valley, Inc., DBA Skyline Social and Games.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Grendel, second from Councilmember Hebert. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That item carries. Christina, why don't you come on back up and we'll talk about item 5C, which is the Apple Valley Burnsville Hockey Association premises permit.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So the Apple Valley Burnsville Hockey Association has applied for a premises permit for lawful gambling at Skyline Social and Games. Staff have reviewed the applications and has no concerns. Final approval of the application is with the State Gambling Control Board, but the city is required to sign off beforehand. Typically, this would be a consent agenda item. It's a regular business thing that we do often for our establishments and our nonprofits. But because part of the requirement of the premises permit is that the establishment has an on-sale liquor license, we needed to ensure that Skyline Social did in fact have a liquor license before we approved a premises permit to conduct lawful gambling at Skyline Social. So I'm available for any questions. Otherwise, we'd ask you to consider approving the resolution.
All right, again, questions for Christina on the gambling permit? All right, do we have a resolution to adopt, or a motion to adopt the resolution approving the state gambling premises permit for Apple Valley Burnsville Hockey Association to conduct lawful gambling at Skyline Social and Games?
So moved.
Motion from Councilmember Bergman, second from Councilmember Melander. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? All right, that item carries as well. And that brings us on to 5D, and Carter's making his way up. to talk about the temporary outdoor event permit for 7 Brew at 15440 English Avenue. And Carter, why don't you start us off?
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. So tonight we are presenting a temporary outdoor event permit request for 7 Brew, which is preparing for its grand opening here in Apple Valley. So the request is for a temporary outdoor event permit to allow 7 Brew to host their grand opening promotional activities at 15440 English Avenue. And this would be from June 19th through July 5th, 2026. So this site is located at 15440 English Avenue, and as the council is aware, 7 Brew received site plan and building permit authorization at the July 10th, 2025 City Council meeting and is now preparing for their grand opening. So this will be the second 7 Brew in the Twin Cities metro region. Prior openings showed high traffic demand and vehicle queuing that did extend into the public streets. For this location, planned events include a fundraiser from June 19th to the 21st. There were first opening day on June 22nd and then swag day on June 27th. 7 Brew has requested the event permit to be extended to allow traffic control measures through July 5th. So city staff have coordinated with the applicant, area businesses, the police department, Dakota County, and a traffic engineering consultant as well to develop a traffic control plan for the event. The plan would prioritize safe vehicle circulation, emergency access, and access to nearby businesses, while also minimizing impacts to Pilot Knob Road and the surrounding roadways. The plan would include specific routing for 7 Brew coffee goers, as well as off-duty police officers at select locations to assist with traffic management and enforcement of the plan. A final traffic control plan will be approved by the city engineer, with those associated costs of the plan borne by the applicant, and measures may be extended beyond July 5th if necessary. We do have this. While a full traffic control plan is still under review by the county, this exhibit does provide a simplified version of the plan to help visualize how the traffic control measures will be implemented for the event period. So if you could follow my cursor, if I have one there. So event goers would follow Pilot Knob southbound. They would turn on 152nd Street West, follow southbound English Avenue until they reach the site. They would then be queued into the site to receive their item that they're purchasing or getting for the promotion, and then exit the site following the reverse pathway northbound English Avenue, and then a right onto 152nd Street West, and then a right onto Pilot Knob South. So this routing for the event would provide access off 155th Street West for those adjacent businesses. They would access from 155th Street West, a right onto English Avenue North, and then have their lane into each of these businesses here. So with that, approval is recommended for the temporary outdoor event permit from June 19th through July 5th, 2026, which would be subject to city engineer approval of the traffic control plan. We do have a 7 Brew representative in attendance for any questions that council may have. So with that, I could turn it over to the mayor and council for any discussion, and we can certainly flip back to this one there.
Thanks, Carter. Yeah, let's leave this one up. I think this is a good one to kind of frame up the conversation. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with, I say normally we would have, just start with a little background. Normally, right, these are pretty routine and they would be on a consent agenda, right? Special events happen all the time and we try to make them happen and it's a good thing. This one, just due to the success of 7 Brew and other locations, has potential to impact the neighboring businesses as well as traffic on 42 and Pilot Knob and safety impacts. And so we asked that this be on the regular agenda this evening so we had some chance to kind of discuss it, but also to have a chance for the neighboring businesses to be heard and make sure their concerns were heard as well. So with that background, I want to start with council and just get any comments. I want to hear from, I know we've got a representative from one of the neighboring businesses in the audience. One of the others was intended to be here, but she had an emergency, so I have some submitted comments we'll read. And then I think I'd like to have the applicant come forward and kind of address those as best they can before we take action. So if that works for everybody, let's start there. Well, even if it doesn't work, we're going to start there. So council members, are any questions for Carter before we jump in? Councilmember Hebert.
Yes. Could you talk a little bit about the entrance and the exit right there? It looks like that there is going to be an off-duty officer. Is that capable of having 3 lanes of traffic, or is it going to be stopping, letting some in, stopping, letting some out? And is the purple line to the adjacent businesses, do they get priority so that they're not queuing up to try to get into those, in and out of those lots?
Yeah, so on site, there currently is 3 lanes. If my current understanding is correct, that's currently configured as a 1 in and 2 out. For this event, it would be reconfigured to 2 in, 1 out. With that purple line would be a dedicated 1 in for Chafin Vet and McDonald's, whereas the red one that's kind of in between there would be the in for 7 Brew, and then all 3 businesses would share that exit on the green line there. So that off-duty police officer stationed here would be assisting to coordinate that kind of queue pulsing in, and where that 7 Brew staffer here would help manage that intra-site traffic in there.
Thank you.
Can you just point to where the entrance to Chafin is, and then to the entrance to McDonald's? Just it's with the right, the lines are helpful, but then they cover the entrances. So.
Yep, I get it. And so Chafin Vet would follow this pathway here, and their entrance would be right here. Whereas for McDonald's, you would continue this way and then continue south, and then either enter the drive-through or if you're parking here.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Council members, any other questions? I don't see any. I believe we had a representative from McDonald's here. Is that correct? Do you want to come forward first, since you're here in person, and then I'll take the comments in front of me. Can you just name and address for the record?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, my name's Aditya Bhavani. I'm the owner of the McDonald's here on English Avenue. I think Laurel made a pretty nice comments in her email and whatnot. It really covers, I'm sure, on the get-go. I think things will go
and that's the one I've got. I'll read that.
Yeah.
I'll read that email when you're done.
I think with specifically with McDonald's, as soon as you take that right bend, it does get very tight, where I'm a little concerned on what it's going to look like even on day of. Where are they stopping traffic where there is a gap where at least the traffic can go around the bend? Or how does that exactly look? Because it is a little challenging, especially when as soon as you make that turn, there's really not that much space to kind of have a dedicated line, one going into the 7 Brew and then a separate one that's going to our parking.
And the line you're talking about is kind of where the purple and the red intersect, right? That's the one you're talking about where the bend comes in.
Yeah, and I kind of drove it a couple times today, trying to see like how would this work? Because at the end of the day, we do want to be good neighbors as well, and it's just I'm having a hard time visualizing it unless they're stopping.
Yep.
And then there's a traffic control person there all day long, which would be a challenge.
Right. So I think we'll have the applicant kind of address that. And I think what you said is true of everybody. Everybody wants to be good neighbors, right? Everybody wants to see a successful business, and we want to see everybody be successful and not at the expense of others. And
correct.
Right. Ultimately, more cars in the neighborhood is a good thing.
Yes.
Absolutely. If we can manage the traffic that comes with that, right? So, yep.
100%. Yep. That's
Wonderful.
my only comments for today.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
As I mentioned earlier, Dr. Laurel Chafin, one of the owners of Chafin Vet, had reached out to me. I know she talked to the chamber and staff as well. So we've had a handful of conversations. I know she was planning on being here tonight. I invited her to come just to hear the conversation as well. She sent an email that I have here at 6 o'clock. So, right, the joy of being a veterinarian is sometimes your plans change on the drop of a dime, and it sounds like hers did this evening. So I'll just read this verbatim. Hi, unfortunately, I have a patient with an emergency right now, and I'm headed into surgery and cannot make the meeting tonight, and Mike is out of town. Mike Chafin is her husband and fellow business partner at Chafin Vet. Would you mind bringing up our concerns about blockages of our entrance and exit, as we are appointment-based and our clients and patients can't withstand delays waiting in a car line to get out of our lot or get into our lot? Can we have an extra private inflow road into our lot by the walking path or between us and McDonald's? Can we do long-term 2 lanes in, 1 lane shared in? Seems like it would get very congested. And I think we've kind of addressed that in saying we can extend the permit as long as we need to. And honestly, long-term, if we have to relook at striping the road, we can address that too as we get in there. We worry about safety and access for fire trucks as well as backups as it seems to cross, as well as backups, as we are seeing across the country 45-minute lines. Sharing 1 lane between 7 Brew and McDonald's seems like it would not work and will block our clients. Traffic flow may work for a bit, but once all the officers and signs are removed, we're relying on the baristas to control traffic. I've called 25 locations across the country, all with negative experiences next door to 7 Brews, causing loss of revenue and access to business. Thank you for your help. And I would just say my conversations with Laurel were much like yours were, right? Wanting to be good neighbors, wanting it to work, but concerned about impact. So this may in a quickly typed, hasty emails, right? We probably lose some of that tone. So I don't want to misrepresent her words there either. With that, our applicant from 7 Brew, do you want to come up and just kind of address some of these and where you kind of stand in this? And maybe we can talk about the McDonald's concern. It looks like it's your staff who's going to kind of be at that pinch point that he described.
Absolutely. So Tim Chafin, actually not related to Chafin Vet, but pretty close.
We're a letter off somewhere in
Just
there,
one
right?
letter. Yeah. I mean, it was a great question that McDonald's had brought up there as in reference to that point there. We're going to keep all the cars in our queue in our lot. We will not allow any cars to queue outside of the lot. So the 2 lanes in, we'll control those 2 lanes, or the lane into us, and we will not allow them to block the access to get out at all. We actually have custom-made signage already. We will place a person out there. It will not be a barista. It will be an upper-level management that we have here. 3 of my upper-level leaders are actually living in Apple Valley, so they've already been through this in Vadnais, and they know how to handle this. And I'm actually going to be on site too for the from the Caffeine for a Cause event through opening weekend. So I actually spend all the time doing traffic myself. So yes, we did open Vadnais. It was busy. We learned a lot from that. I know Laurel mentioned 25 other locations. Those are not ours. We are better operators. I don't know which one she's talking about, but we take this seriously. So I do a traffic plan for every location moving forward. We get with a local company, Warning Lights. They help us and assist us with that to ensure we're doing this properly. We feel like this is a good plan, but we will do everything we can to make sure our neighbors are good. We've already reached out to both of them, actually. We reached out to them a couple weeks ago. I talked to Laurel today, so. But yeah, is there any questions that I can answer? Or?
Any questions from anyone else here?
So I just want to clarify. So you said that they're going to keep them in the lot, in your lot, so that entry point where we've got the 2 lanes in.
Kind of the red circle there kind of point?
Between the off-duty officer and then your staff. So that red line there, you're not queuing there.
No, it's going to be very hard to queue there. Now, when it's slow, obviously, if there's nobody there, customers are going to naturally do it. But the nice thing is they're going to go into that middle lane, and then they're going to have that purple lane to get all the way through. Now, I will place one of my employees at all times at the end of my lot to ensure nothing gets blocked right there. So we can ensure, and we have signage that says do not block lanes and things like that. We need a person there.
So we also know how people read signs, right?
Yes,
so,
absolutely. Absolutely. So, but we can put all the signage in the world out there. If I don't put a body out there with it, it really doesn't do any good. So we put them in reflective gear as well for safety. So
yeah, it's new, and people will have to learn the flow, and with like anything else. But I appreciate you taking those steps, and I think not queuing right there is going to.
Yeah, it's important. And again, we learned a lot from Vadnais Heights. To be honest with you, on Vadnais Heights, we did our normal plan for an opening. It just blew up. And I say that in a good way, in it that was busy. TikTok went viral. It was not us. It was local influencers. We haven't seen it yet here, but we did pull back a lot of promotions, a lot of free things. We're just trying to slow it down as much as we can because we don't want a repeat of that much traffic and everything. So,
Yep. Have you been in touch with Health Partners as well?
I'm sorry.
Health Partners, have you talked to them as well?
Yes,
Yep.
I've talked to them as well. We're trading emails as we speak. So
Because I could see their parking lot becoming the de facto, right? It's just nice and easy, hop over the grass and they're there.
yeah,
So
yeah, we're talking about that. I'm talking to Dean right now on that, and I'm working with some cross-access parking with them.
Yep.
And then obviously that's the other part to it as well. We do walk-up service, but we're not going to do walk-up service here until it totally slows down.
Right.
In Vadnais Heights, I still haven't opened up walk-up service because I don't want them to have to go park in our customers, our neighbors' parking lots, and then come to us. So, yep.
I think you've heard the comments and you kind of see the concern, right? And you're dealing with it as best you can, but I would just encourage stay in touch with the neighbors. I think they know where to reach you. And that's probably the first call, right? Is, hey, Tim, we got a problem, right? Like that becomes the first call. But what I don't want to do is have to have us step back in and try to resolve this either. And you're taking it seriously, and we appreciate that. Like all good plans, and like you experienced in Vandas, we just need to be ready to adjust if things don't go exactly to plan, and that could be either direction.
Yeah.
And we'll see how long we need to extend this beyond opening, right? The good and the bad. If we have to extend this 2 more weeks or a month, or talk about realigning striping or something, it's an okay problem to have. It's just we're gonna figure it out. So
Obviously, as we open more locations, this demand will pull down a lot, so.
yep, perfect. Other questions? Did we address everybody's questions? Are we ready to talk about the approval of the temporary outdoor event permit? If there are no other questions, we would look for a motion for the temporary outdoor event permit. And I would just note that this is still subject to finalizing the traffic plan. Is that correct, Tom? Or Carter? Right?
Correct, yep.
Yep. I didn't see you. You disappeared on me. You sat down, so, yeah. Perfect.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Motion from Councilmember Grendall, a second from Councilmember Melander to approve the temporary outdoor event permit with the conditions as shown on the screen. Do we have a motion to, or do we have why, it's gonna be a good night here. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed?
You
That
need some
carries.
coffee.
Thank you. I do need more coffee, don't I? So Carter, thank you. And to staff and to our applicants and to the neighbors, thanks for trying to work through this and just being good neighbors. And ultimately, you're right, the rising tide should lift everybody, but we got to get through the opening. So thank you all. With that, staff, council communications, Tom, do we have anything from staff?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we have one item for tonight, and that would be to have Brandon come up and our city engineer to talk about fiber installation for broadband deployment in
Perfect.
neighborhoods.
Everybody's favorite topic. Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brandon. What a way to end the night.
Good evening, council and mayor, in opposite order. From traffic to fiber, I get the good ones tonight. As all of you are aware, everyone's been getting either calls, contacts, or just your front yard is getting some disturbance that you may not have known about or did know about. There's a lot of fiber being installed throughout the city of Apple Valley, as well as just about every other city in the state of Minnesota and expanding elsewhere. So a quick update on where we're at with it. I do want to point out a few things that there are private utility and telecommunication providers installing fiber optic everywhere. This work is not being performed by the city of Apple Valley, our contractors, or any of that. This is an initiative that comes from a federal and state level to get this in. These contractors and providers do have to obtain permits that allow them to work and apply or install those facilities within the city's right-of-way. So under statute, we essentially they have the legal authority to perform the construction in those right-of-way and easements, and they work close with my staff on permitting requirements to make sure those requirements are met. One of the things I want to point out, if you do notice non-city personnel working near your street or in areas, that's likely what they're doing. It's expected to continue. It's already been in town for several years, but based on some of the pending permits, it's expected to continue for at least 2 to 5 more years, depending on where you're at. This is just an overall map that shows where we're at. The green is MetroNet, the purplish is Gigapower, and the red is Frontier. There's some overlapping areas that don't show up very well. This is the area of the city that's either had it installed or has pending permits. So you can see how much of the city is covered by various providers. There is some overlapping where some of them have been provided where each other works, but they still, it is their company, it is their service they are providing, it is their choice as to where they want their customers to be, whether there's somebody there or not. I know that's frustrating to a lot of residents when they come through one year and then all of a sudden another provider comes through another, and we get a lot of those questions, but If the providers are meeting the ordinance for what the right-of-way permit allows, that's not something we can deny. So this is an overall map. I do want to point out all these maps that I'm going to show you, and especially for the general public. If you go to our city website and search fiber, or you go to the official website, I put every single contact information for each of the providers, for each of my staff, for maps, where there's pending permits. If you have a question about who's in your area, I've got an interactive map right there. So I just want to point that out, that this is a pretty useful tool for everybody. And on that, I've got a variety of these maps. I kind of cleaned this one up for you to see a little bit. One of the things we're doing this year is we're scaling back how many permits we're approving. The dashed permits are upcoming permits that we have not approved yet that have been submitted to us just for this year. The solid lines are ones that were released and we're overseeing. We are not releasing any more permits until restoration and we are able to close them out adequately. So you can see there's some pent-up demand, but I think it's also holding them more accountable. We've had active meetings with each of the provider on a weekly basis now and working through a lot of the issues. So there's still some frustrations with neighbors, but we are finding some accountability and working through it. Another map is just so it cleans up a little better. I just took it out so it wasn't by provider, but you can see there's a lot of work just in 2026 to date and what's pending. And all these maps are on the website, like I pointed out. Also on the website, on the city website, these are all information that's been put out there by each of the provider. This is what my inspection staff is providing. A couple of the companies are really good to have direct contacts with someone in the field that's addressing it on the street that day. Like I said, these numbers are out there. I just want to point it out. It's also on the web. Also, we didn't have enough staffing, so we went to multiple consultants to help us. So I've got a representative that's on every one of these projects, reviewing and doing all the inspections, as well as a city engineer, or the Tom Weiss with the City of Apple Valley is also assisting. So we have 3 staff addressing calls to City Hall, intervening where we have disputes, putting people in contact with the proper provider. So there's a lot of information out there for everybody. And I just want to put this back up there because there is that information plus a lot more on the website that'll help people, I think help with just smooth some of the communication, smooth who to go to, and give a place that they can actually talk to help work through it, because I think some of it, that's been the frustration as well, as not having a contact. With that, I can stand for any questions on what's out there.
I would just note that the county is also issuing permits in their own right of way. This is city streets only, although we probably don't have homes abutting county streets in most cases, so.
Mayor, you're correct. There is fiber home runs, and their key runs are being installed in county right of way. Our staffing isn't handling that. The county right of way permit system and their staffing really needs to oversee what goes in there right of way. Typically, those don't have the impacts to residential front yard homes that tend to be more disturbing than just a corridor. So I think they're getting less issues. We're dealing with hundreds of people on a daily basis, so that's.
So one of the most concerning things I think we hear is when a gas line gets hit. So you want to talk about what happens when somebody hits a gas line?
Yep. So locates are a big deal. Well, there's flags in your yard. I know it's mowing season. Everybody wants their yard looking nice. Those locates are extremely important for them to know where to be. There's gas, electric, there's other communications, there's plenty of items fulfilling our right-of-way space. Once in a while, and Apple Valley is infamous because it's a mining area. We have cobbles. They're boring. The boring bounces off a cobble that wasn't identified. It hits a gas main. Typically, fire gets called right away. All those get reported to pipeline safety. We also go and report them to pipeline safety and investigate. Fire is kind of the first one on the scene, but it is documented. One of the issues with statute that changed last year that we noticed is services don't have to be located. We're seeing a lapse in people's services to their home. I think that was a law that was passed that maybe has ramifications for the amount of stuff going in right now. We're seeing a lot of individual services like the fiber, the communication or gas is out in the right of way. Then you have a service line. Not all of that has to be located back. And if the easement extends further back and they want to be back a little further, sometimes that's where we're seeing the hits. But
Is that something we should address as we talk about legislative policy this year?
it is. That would be a
get
great
dialed
topic to
back?
bring up as to what we're encountering from a law change. Absolutely. So with that, the pipeline safety gets called, fire's there, it gets investigated, and it usually gets handled pretty quick. So
No, it's just worth mentioning because that's probably
that's the scariest of the
scary
ones.
Yep. And it creates a big response, as it should. We have police and we have fire there, and it looks serious because it is. So, other questions for Brandon? All right.
It's a lot of work. I know there's frustration with the residents. It's tough. There is a lot of fiber. And at the end of the day, it's a benefit, but we got to get through that difficult hurdle to get it there. So
Yeah, I think I've said we went a lot of years where a lot of the complaint we had was only having one internet provider in town, right? And now by the time we get done, you might have a choice of 4, right? So we went from not enough to too many, but let's get through it. So,
Yep.
Thank
any
you, Brandon.
questions, our staff's available, so people can reach out.
Appreciate it. Tom, any other items from staff? Council members, any other items this evening? I'll just quick add that Parks and Rec team invited me to their staff meeting at the new Redwood Pool here a week or so ago, and I will just reiterate what I said there. You drive around and you see the projects, and you get to go hang out and talk to all the people who are actually working and making them come out of the ground, and just thank you to, there's only 2 of them here tonight, but still, thank you guys, and thanks all your teams for taking on a second job here the last few years as you did your regular job on top of everything else. But starting to look good, and thanks for the extra work. So with that, the next item is our calendar of events. Our next city council meeting is Thursday, July 9th at 5:30 p.m. And our next regular city council meeting is Thursday, July 9th at 7. Do I have a motion to approve the calendar of events? Motion from Councilmember Grendall. Second from Councilmember Bergman. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Next, last item is to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion from Councilmember Hebert, second from Councilmember Grendall. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.